Right, here we are once again. This is the 13th video in my series on the history of Halloween Horror Nights 2020 Years of Fear. And previous video, my hair's all a mess, but you expect it. It's a hat hair. My previous video, I began the shows of the event, and was beginning onto the Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure for that year, and I had started talking about the show when the time was up because I was too long making a tribute to Mike Aiello and other things, way too long, and so now I have to start out now with continuing the show that was at that time, 2010, yes. So I left off with the introduction of the character Dickhead, who is the villain of the show apparently. Douchebag, young urban professional, businessman, music, industry insider, agent, talent agent, that's the sort. Douchebag of the worst order, comes out all swaggery and attitude and all of that, and then he brings out his new replacements for Bill and Ted, because this is going to be rebooting the franchise and recasting. Instead of Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, now it's going to be, because they're like in their 40s now, right? 50s. Keanu Reeves like my age. He doesn't age though, he's a vampire. Shh, that's a secret. Not really, it's on the internet. So is Michael Jackson, he's not really dead. Why do you think he slept in a coffin? And those children, he wasn't a paedophile, he just wanted virgin blood. See, that's why he turned white. It wasn't that he was any kind of skin bleaching. He actually got paler and paler like vampires do. His face got more angular, more vopine, you know, cat-like, fox-like looking, you know, like animalistic. All those moves defying gravity and shit. It's so obvious he's a vampire. He had to fake his death, so it's obvious he wasn't aging a day, so clearly he had to do something so that, you know, people wouldn't come at him with wooden stakes. So he's probably hiding out somewhere else, taking on a new identity. That's what vampires have to do when they reach a certain age. I'm looking old, I'm not a vampire, obviously, otherwise I'd still be young and thin like I used to be, you know, to be 53 but look like I was 25. That'd be nice, unfortunately. Again, I'm going off on a tangent. Casting aspersions on nice dead celebrities. What's wrong with me? Bad. Bad, Jimmy. Alright. So, where was I? It was about Bill and Ted. Okay, Bill and Ted. Dickhead comes out, replaces him with Justin Bieber and the Situation from the Jersey Shore. Now, Justin Bieber today has become a sort of thug with tattoos on every body part, walking around without a shirt, and his pants sagging around his knees so you can see his boxers. You know, look at me, I'm bad. Yeah, I'm bad. And you know why he does all that? Not just because he hit puberty at some point, but also because back in the day, which was 2010, when he was cute and adorable with his little bangs and high-pitched voice and polite to everybody like a superhero or a Mormon, you know, polite all the time, then clearly a lot of people had, you know, cast aspersions on his masculinity. Oh, we know who he really is, Usher's girlfriend. That kind of thing, and that kind of upset him, and he didn't want people to think he was less than manly, and so he became a complete and utter jerk, you know, thinking that might make him more masculine. That's why he goes around peeing on everything and acting like a douchebag, because he thinks then people might think he's, you know, a real boy, I guess. So this was back though when he was still a little kid and still had the bangs and was still more cute than thuggish, and of course people were making those "it's a girl" jokes. Therefore they cast a girl, they cast a female actor to play Justin Bieber. This has become a running gag at Orlando ever since. Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood, when they did Bill and Ted, well, they don't anymore, but when they did Bill and Ted and they brought Justin Bieber back more than once, it was always a male actor. Always at Orlando, even up to last year, female actor. This has become a tradition in Orlando. Justin Bieber will be played by a girl, so that the running gag that everyone thinks he's really a girl, or especially Bill and Ted think it's a girl, will continue. And so that was the idea. So Bill's like, you replaced me with a little girl? Whoa. Or Ted said that. I don't remember whether Justin was the new Ted or the new Bill, the other being the situation. I think Justin's the new Ted and Bill's the new girl. No, I think Justin's the new Bill and Ted is the new girl, but I'm not certain. Because it's been 6 years practically, or 5.5 years. But anyway, that's the Bieber was there, and then the situation comes out in his vest, or rather his white undershirt, sleeveless, the Guido shirt, to use an ethnic slur. Sorry about that. Don't mean to offend any Italian Americans. That's what it's called sometimes. But he's wearing that, and he comes out. He's all muscles, and he's played by Jason Tiggs, who's got the muscles and dancer body, much better looking than the situation actually. He comes out there, and then along comes Snooky or Sookie or Schmooky or whatever the fuck her name is. And they got a plus-size actor, female actor, in enough orange makeup to make her look like an Oompa Loompa or Donald Trump. So she comes out after the situation, and she touches his shoulder. Hey, wait up, touch his shoulder, and of course that startles him, so he has to turn around and whop her in the face, which is also an ethnic slur against Italian Americans, but I didn't mean that way. I meant like in punching or smacking or hitting, not meaning whop in any other context. By the way, in case you didn't know, that's an acronym. It means without papers. Back in the 19th century, they considered they thought the Italians were illegal immigrants. They didn't come from Mexico, though. They came from Canada because they could get in that way with just crossing the border. No one to stop them, which made a lot more sense than going on Ellis Island when everyone's going to send you back if there's anything wrong with you. Oh, mafia connections, go, you get back on the boat. Oh, you're too sick, get back on the boat. Oh, you're too funny looking, get back on the boat. We can't spell your name correctly, get back on the boat. That kept happening. So a lot of people didn't get in, and they found a loophole. So really it was a clever move, Clever move, and that's where that term came from. But getting back to, again, no slurs meant at all. Just what came out that way. Smack, hit, punch. Anyway, brutalizing her. Hits her, it becomes a gag in the joke several times, hitting her in the face because Snooky's such an annoying person, but every time she startles him, bang, that's his immediate reaction, the punch. And, of course, he says, hey, you can't do that! You can't sneak up on me! It's Halloween Horrors Night, yo! It's shit scary! I love that line, Halloween Horrors Night. Yeah, at times it does seem like Horrors Night, especially if you're hanging with Chris Redfield. Remember what I told you? I protected all of you from him all these years by staying with him during horror nights, and that way he was only affecting me and not the rest of you, and now he's in Hollywood where you're all safe. And people in Hollywood, well, he's actually gainfully employed, so things have changed and he's matured a little bit. So you're all lucky. Alright, getting back to where I was. So these on the new Bill and new Ted. And of course they're very annoying, and old Bill and Ted, they want to put themselves back in, so they try to find people from popular culture from the past year. Of course, that's what we do every year, trying to find popular culture, movies, whatever, to be their champions to defeat the evil Bill and Ted, or Justin Bieber in the situation, and dickhead, and get back to being in charge and large and dude and all that stuff. And of course they have a terrible time at it because the pop culture 2010 sucked so much. And so who do they encounter? Well, they encounter, for example, Iron Man, who is completely drunk. They encounter the last Airbender from the cartoon. It's Avatar. But they couldn't use the word Avatar because of James Cameron's Avatar, so they just had to call him the Airbender. And he's actually got a really cute young guy who's like a martial artist, and he does all these flips and acrobatics and Chinese tricks, spinning around and all these things, looking quite kung fu and stuff. Really amazing. Very good job, but then he has to show that he can bend air by bending over and flatulence, and I can also bend water. And he stands up, and starts to reach for his. Oh, no, we don't need to see that. Stop that. So that was the bender. Had Woody from Toy Story. Insert penis joke here, of course. Hit girl from Kick-Ass, Lady Gaga, kept showing up a number of times whenever they rang the Gaga gong. They rang the Gaga gong. She comes out in her meat dress and she prances across the stage, you know, paparazzi other songs, telling people she's got all these different cuts of meat, you know, including a penis, because that was the joke at the time, the rumor that she actually had one. Of course she doesn't, at least not one of her own, but from other people. And let's see, and who else was there? What the hell, I can't read. Oh yeah, that's right, they had a lot of the sorcerer, Nick Cage was there, the sorcerer, and he's like Harry Potter with his wand trying to do magic, and it's like Lumos or some shit. Yeah, that was a good line. Another one is he's going to vanish, so he's disappearo, and then just walks off the stage. Lots of fun. The sorcerer, that was funny. The sorcerer's apprentice. Then there was the fog monster from Lost. At one point, an actor goes by wearing a costume made out of cotton dyed black all over his body, big lumps of this stuff. And Dickhead says, "Who the hell are you?" He goes, "I'm the fog monster from Lost." And, you know, he says something disparaging. "Oh yeah? Well then I'm going to delete you from my Facebook page, or I'm going to unfriend you on Facebook," basically. And he walked, you know, so that was funny. And then there was several running gags about Twilight, because this became a thing year after year. And they had an actor, I think his name was Brandon or Brendan, who looked just like frickin' Robert Pattinson. It's amazing, amazing. And he was playing Edward, and he's there all pale and romantic like. And then along comes Jacob, I think he's played by Navarro. Michael, yes, that's right. Cute young guy, another dancer, but a little bit short. He was one of Jack's maniacs last year. Really, really built, and so he looked good as the werewolf. So he comes out, and they're both fighting over Bella, right? And Bella has to choose, as we all know, between necrophilia and bestiality. Which way is she going to go? Which perversion is she going to pick? And, you know, Jacob says, well, you know, you don't want to be with that guy because he has herpes. He has vampire herpes, verpes. And Edward's like, he trumps heat. He trumps trees. He's a tree humper. And they're arguing over all of that. So that's a continuous running gag throughout the whole show. Eventually, they figure out how to stop Dickhead, except Dickhead isn't the problem. No. It's all been a trap. Yes. You see, it's all been a distraction. The real threat was the one the doctor tried to warn about at the beginning of the show, remember? That's right. And there's a screen, on the screen comes the real villain, who's really behind it all, Dr. Evil. Yes, I like this actually, Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies, who'd been a Bill and Ted villain many times in past years. So it was sort of like a nostalgic tribute to the past by having him return. And he has planted iPhones under every seat, and with a certain amount of plastic explosive. And when the signal is sent, the proper signal is sent, they will explode, destroying the theater. Yes, blowing up the whole place, and just like that in the video that Bill and Ted warned themselves with at the beginning that they forgot about. Oh dear. But something goes wrong, probably because the iPhone doesn't work. I'm not sure. At any rate, they survive. We all survive. The whole audience doesn't get blown up. And therefore, the only thing to do is sing and dance for no reason, the way every Bill and Ted show has always ended. And so they do all the singing. It's Lady Gaga, there's Justin Bieber, there's Usher, who sings with Justin Bieber. Maybe she is his girlfriend, I don't know. And you have Katy Perry. And one of my favorite bits is they do the song Hello from Lionel Richie. And while Hello is going on, it has a ballet between the characters from Twilight, Edward, Jacob, and Bella. And so Edward is dancing with Bella, and Jacob comes and takes her away, and they fight a little bit, and then Bella backs off, and Edward and Jacob look at each other and fall into each other's arms and then embrace, and ends with a nice homoerotic kiss, what we'd all expected all along from the get-go. All of you Edward, Jacob / fanfic nuts, that's what happened. So goody, just like your naughty fixations have been fulfilled. Fun show. Of course, on the final night, Halloween night of 2010, that was when they did a very special version of the show. Lots of ads. They usually do that anyway, but this time it was more so because it was Mike's last night. And I don't remember all the details, but there was a lot less clothing worn by most of the cast in many scenes, and a lot more naughty jokes and a couple of direct tributes to Mike. And then he came out at the end with the cast for lots of pictures and shakings of hands and congratulations and all of that. So it was really, really a tear-jerking moment, as that was the last show Mike Aiello did for Bill and Ted. But then again, now he's running the Ho Horror Nights, and has done now for since 2011. Okay, so how much time have I got left? A little bit. So those are the shows. We're not done yet. We're not done yet, even though I finished at the shows, because there was more at the event that year. Now, every theme park has a VIP lounge, and sometimes more than one. And I worked at Epcot, or actually I worked at Disney as security host. Sometimes when I was at Epcot, in my first year at Disney, I was security. Did you know that? Isn't that weird? Can you imagine me, security, throwing people out for being bad and stuff? First time. And then after that, I went to Pleasure Island and I worked at the Adventurers Club. But before that, the very first year I was security, and sometimes I'd work the parks. It was usually on Pleasure Island, but sometimes I worked the parks. And when I worked the late night shifts in the parks, very often one of the places you had to check out were some of those VIP lounges. And every single one of those buildings at Epcot, back in those days at least, I don't know what it's like now, because that was 25 years ago, so 1991, every single one of those buildings had some kind of VIP lounge for whatever company was the sponsor. So like there was a Coca-Cola VIP lounge in one of the buildings, and there was like a General Electric or AT&T or Exxon or General Motors. They all had their own lounges. And if you now Universal, this is also true, but it's not so much corporate sponsorship. Whenever they have a VIP or something and they want to take someone to a special place for whatever reason, including the press event tour. So I've been in the one at the studios when I got to go to the press event one time in 2014. Only time I've ever done the press event. I don't have press credentials, but I went as someone's guest. And it's above guest services. Very nice. There's also a VIP lounge over at Islands of Adventure, the Confisco restaurant when you're on port of entry, in the upper floors there. And we did get to see that. I didn't, but the guests, the fans of Horror Nights, did back in 2005. And this was the closest time that we've had to this sort of thing that happened in 2010. The only time before this ever happened was in 2005, when after that scavenger hunt game, those who were there on Halloween night in 2005 and Halloween Horror Nights 15, when they won the scavenger hunt, when they got all the clues together, as a reward, they were taken up into that building, into that VIP lounge on top of Confisco's, and they saw all kinds of neat stuff. Production artwork and designs and blueprints and little models and props and costumes, and they could meet and talk with the creators, including people like TJ Manorino and Rick Spencer and others who were involved in creating all that Terra Cruentus back then. So that was really nifty in 2005, and I missed that because I wasn't able to get to the park on the last night that year. But I did participate a bit in the scavenger hunt leading up to it and heard all about it, and they all got their names on the website. Weren't they cool? Well, in 2010 was the first time something like that was done again, and it wasn't part of a contest. They thought, well, we can do a VIP lounge and have it set up right there in the park, and we'll make an upcharge for the crazy fans who love it. They can come in, and on several different sessions throughout the event of of Halloween Horror Nights 20. They'll meet up with the creators, and we'll have displays of props and artifacts and things from 20 years of Halloween Horror Nights, and different sessions will be held where they can learn all kinds of neat stuff while all this is going on, just for a small fee. And that would be the VIP lounge. On off nights, you could actually pay to go in there on nights when there was nothing going on and just look at props and get a cocktail, because there are cocktail waitresses going around with cocktails. You still had to pay for the cocktail too. So there was no point, I thought, in going in there on when it wasn't, but there were on, I believe, 5 nights. There were special sessions where the creators from A&D would sit down, that's art and design, and creative, and discuss all sorts of things with us about the past 20 years. And again, I'm coming to the end of this video.